We hear it all the time in the media and on social. Billionaires are getting rich off the backs of the poor, and they don't pay their fair share of taxes. They have all these loopholes and tricks to build their empires, but they're only taking from the system that made them rich. Their theft needs to stop. While we can all agree the tax system does need some reform, what these billionaires are doing is entirely legal. We might wish that billionaires paid more in taxes, but just because the billionaire pays a lower tax rate than the average American does not mean that they're stealing. In fact, the same loopholes and tricks are available to all Americans. The average person just doesn't know how to play the game, so they think that the game is rigged. Time magazine recently chose Elon Musk as the Person of the Year. Never missing an opportunity, Senator Elizabeth Warren took to Twitter to take a shot at Musk. Notice that she mentioned the rigged tax code. Let's change the rigged tax code so the Person of the Year will actually pay taxes and stop freeloading off everyone else. But of course, Elon's not one to shy away from a Twitter fight. He mentioned something that perhaps few people even considered. And if you open your eyes for 2 seconds, you'll realize that I pay more taxes than any American in history this year. Musk is referring to his selling spree of Tesla stock. After exercising some stock options that were about to expire, Musk has been selling millions of shares of Tesla over the past few weeks. For those keeping score at home, Musk followed up with this tweet just a few days later. For those wondering, I will pay over $11 billion in taxes this year. How he calculated this number is not completely clear, but a recent Reuters article shows Musk at having sold about $15.4 billion worth of Tesla stock around the time of this tweet. Now, although $11 billion is objectively a large number that few people will ever earn in their lifetime, let alone pay in taxes, a surprisingly large number of people just saw this as a billionaire crying, "Woe is me. Boo-hoo, you're breaking my heart." Reading through the tweets, something very interesting became clear. Many of the people that were saying that Elon should be paying more in taxes or that their tax rate is higher than his clearly don't know how taxes work. They were obviously upset and unimpressed with his meager tax payment, but I think a lot of that stems from a lack of knowledge. And I believe that knowledge of the system is a big part of why Elon Musk is rich and many others never will be. Share this video with your friends and family and coworkers so that they'll understand how taxes, wealth, and capital gains actually work. There were a whole bunch of responses with something along the lines of, "So you'll pay 4.5% while I pay 33%? Is your tweet supposed to make me feel bad for you or that you're somehow paying your fair share? Because it doesn't. It proves to me that our tax system is set up to burden the middle class and benefit the wealthy." Also, given the highest tax bracket at 37%, he's underpaying at $11 billion. $11 billion is like 1/4. So per dollar, I'm paying more in taxes than Captain Haircut. So you're bragging about paying such a small percentage of your income in taxes? Should be a lot more. I've blocked out the names of those making these comments because my objective is not to shame anybody. They've already made their misunderstandings clear for everyone to see. The piece of information that many of these people are missing is how income is taxed. They think income is all taxed the same way. It isn't. When most people think of taxes, what they think of is the taxes that they pay on the money that they make at work. And that makes sense. That's what most Americans know. You go to work, you pay taxes. The money that you make at work is called earned income. And earned income is taxed at the rates in that image that somebody tweeted out, presumably from the IRS website. Earned income is what the average American pays taxes on, and it's based on the money that they made at work. Where these passionate people went wrong is that they don't know about something called capital gains tax. Capital gains are created when you buy something and sell it for more. Capital gains are not created at work. Rather, they're profits that come from an investment. Interesting and important fact, capital gains are usually taxed at a lower rate than earned income. Now, while tax on earned income is usually 10 to 37%, taxes on capital gains are from 15 to 25% and usually work out to be lower. The Internal Revenue Service says the tax rate on most net capital gain is no higher than 15% for most individuals. Some or all net capital gain may be taxed at 0% if the taxable income is less than $80,000. That means if you make less than $80,000 a year, you pay nothing in capital gains taxes. So you could buy something for $1 and sell it for $20,000, but you're going to get to keep all of those profits and pay nothing in capital gains tax. If, however, you make $80,000 at work, then you're going to pay 10% on the first $9,875, 12% on the next chunk up to $40,125, and 22% on the chunk after that up to $85,525. So that means you're going to pay $13,391 in taxes that year. And that means that your tax rate is 16.73%. If you made just under $80,000 with stocks, you're going to pay 0% taxes. Whereas if you made just under $80,000 at work, you're going to pay 16.73% of your income. Either way, you make $80,000, but how you make that $80,000 makes a huge difference. This is available to you not because you're a billionaire with loopholes, but because you're an American. This applies to everyone. Elon Musk made a ton of money selling stock, so his tax rate should be 25% because he made more than $441,450 this year. If he made the same $441,450 as a high-level executive at his job, at work, he would be paying more like 35% in taxes. Again, how you make your money makes a huge difference. If you make the money at work, you're going to pay more in taxes than if you made the money with capital gains. You can take your money and buy investments and be taxed at a lower rate. The U.S. government wants to encourage investment, so they incentivize you by giving you a lower tax rate. This is available not only to billionaires, but to all Americans. I have an idea. How about you pay the percentage the other 90% of Americans pay in taxes, and the rest of us in the 90% pay the percentage you pay? Let's see how much better off every American would be, and you'd still be the richest man in America. There's no need for him to pay the same rate as the other 90% of Americans because he made his money through capital gains. The average American can also make money through capital gains, and in fact, they'd probably end up paying 0% in taxes because the average American makes less than $80,000 a year. They can and they should be putting their money into investments so that they too can pay a lower tax rate. But most people don't know how the system works, and therefore they're not buying assets that appreciate in price. That's why Elon Musk and others like him that understand personal finance will be rich, and many others never will be. It's not a secret, it's not a trick, it's not hidden. That's just how the system works. You might not like the system, and that's a fair argument. If, however, you understand the system and use it to your advantage, you too can be rich. Dude is worth close to $300 billion and is complaining about 11? Okay. And I bet that's still a reduced amount with write-offs and loopholes. It's not loopholes. That's just how the system works. Didn't you make like $119 billion this year? This is such a beta post. If I made $119 billion this year, I'd be fine with paying $118 billion in taxes. I'm still going to have an obscene amount of wealth, and maybe the peasant class can have health care. No, if you made $119 billion this year, you would not be paying $118 billion in taxes. That's not how the system works. You might be fine with paying $118 billion in taxes, but you'd be overpaying unnecessarily. Let's take a moment and talk about net worth. Now, a lot of people are saying that Elon Musk should pay a lot more in taxes because he made a lot of money this year. Now, the made a lot of money argument needs to be understood. Let's say, for example, you bought a house this year for $100,000 and the housing market just went crazy and that house, the price of the house rose to $1 million. Wow! So you just made a lot of money. In truth, you didn't actually make a lot of money. You just bought an asset that went up in value. So what actually happened was your net worth went up by $900,000. You don't make $900,000 until you sell that house. When we spoke about capital gains before, that only happens when you sell the item that you bought. Capital gains is the amount that you sold it for minus the amount that you paid for it, which is your profit. If you don't sell anything, then you haven't made a profit yet, and therefore you haven't made a lot of money yet. Until you sell, they're what's called unrealized gains. The Biden administration is talking about taxing unrealized gains, but you can clearly see why that would be a horrible situation for many Americans. If you bought a house for $100,000 and it went up in value to $1 million, you can't afford to pay taxes on that $900,000. You don't have that money in your pocket. It's locked up in unrealized gains in your house. What happens if next year the housing market crashes and now that same house is only worth $200,000? Did you just lose $800,000? What happens now? Do you get some big tax credit? The whole thing makes no sense. So while your net worth might go up and down each year as the value of your assets fluctuates, You don't make a lot of money until you sell that thing that you bought. Elon Musk didn't make $119 billion this year. Rather, his net worth went up by $119 billion. But that could all change tomorrow. It could all disappear. So he didn't make a lot of money until he sells his stock. I appreciate you actually paying your taxes, but I'm sure you've made over $100 billion this year. $11 billion is chump change to you. Me, on the other hand, only made $40,000 and will owe taxes this year. Do you understand why this tweet makes no sense? This person doesn't understand how taxes work. You made $19 billion. You should pay $35 billion in federal income taxes after all write-offs. Nope. You're worth over $243 billion. 11 divided by 243 equals 0.045% of your entire fortune. Who pays more than 0.045% of money in taxes? I guess it's better than the normal $0 or subsidies you and your company get every year from taxes of everyone else. You don't pay taxes on your net worth. You pay it on your taxable income, either because you made money at work or because you sold an investment. If you had to pay taxes based on your net worth, most Americans would not pay any tax at all because your average American has a whole bunch of debt and has a negative net worth. Great. Come back when you pay your entire net worth and maybe I'll be cool with you. That just makes no sense. Bless their hearts. Many people responded to Elon's tweets because they're passionate and they're upset, but they just missed the mark. That's 4.5% of your net worth. You paid 3.27% between 2014 and 2018, and no federal taxes at all in 2018. You made $36 billion in one day in 2021. Most U.S. people pay 10 to 37% in federal taxes and up to 13.3% in state taxes. Stop vying for sympathy from people who pay and pay your fair share. People might not like the current tax system, and like I said, that's a very fair argument. If you don't like the system, what you should do is elect people that will change the system to be the way you want. But to say that somebody isn't paying their fair share just isn't fair when the law decides what their share is. And that's a fraction of what you should be paying, so it sounds to me like the system is still heavily weighted in your favor. It's important to remember that this system is available to all Americans, so you too can use the system as if it's heavily weighted in your favor. That may be true, but you could give everyone in America $1 million and still have enough to live off of your worth $600 billion, so excuse as common people for not feeling guilty that you had to pay $11 million in taxes. This one is funny. So there's actually 29.5 million people in America. So if Elon Musk were to give everybody $1 million, then he would be giving away $329.5 trillion. So obviously having mathematical skills is not a prerequisite for opening a Twitter account. He can avoid outrageous California and state taxes maybe, not to mention the billion state laws that are driving business out of California all year long. But the federal tax on capital gains will follow him no matter where he goes. This person gets it. For those wondering, I'm broke, and after I pay taxes, I'll be broker. Then I owe money to the doorman, the VIP entrance dude, a bar tab, and some of these I work with. I am f***ed. This person needs help. A budget would be a great place to start. If you made it this far, you're a champ. Please share this with those that are around you that are complaining about the system and people not paying their fair share. I can appreciate the frustration. Like I said, their hearts are in the right place. But a lot of that anger can be soothed by understanding personal finance and knowing how the system actually works. Like it or not, we have the system that we have. You could choose to be angered by it, or you could choose to use it to your advantage. And understanding how the system can be used to your advantage will make you wealthy. Please take the time to learn about personal finance so you too can be rich. Share this video with those around you so that they can understand how taxes, wealth, and capital gains actually work. I'm Nadav Reese, the financially savvy parent that you always wish you had. I'll see you next time.